Welcome to Happily Ever After is just the beginning. Keeping your relationship not just together, but happy, and we mean truly happy, is part art and part science. You've come to the right place. Here's your host, Leslie Dories.
You know, marriage is an interesting relationship. As far as I know, it's the only one that has a formal public ritual to it. You stand up in front of friends and family, or a public official and 2 witnesses, and make a commitment to each other. It is a legal contract that binds you to each other, at least for a period of time. In other words, you make a commitment to each other and the relationship. But what exactly does that mean, that word commitment? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about today with my guest, fellow relationship coach, author, and podcast host, Lewis Morris. So, Lewis, thank you so much for being on the show and talking about, I love getting into definitions of words, so thanks so much.
Okay, so we're talking about commitment. All right, now look, Leslie, let's look at it this way. Most of the marriages that take place in the world, they take place in a religious institution.
Many.
Or there is some form of religious minister performing the marriage.
Correct.
There's a reason for that. There's actually a reason for that,
Okay.
Yeah.
And that reason would be what?
Okay, because it's not only a covenant between the 2 people, but it's a covenant between the 2 people and God.
Okay.
That's why. So it is, it's a commitment, but it's a different kind of commitment because of the religious backdrop, if you will.
Okay.
All right? Right. So that's why most of them are performed under a religious umbrella.
Okay.
So I wanted to put that out there first.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I mean, and we're both contributors to a site called the Good Men Project, and you wrote a piece for them which was titled "Commitment and Trust Equals Relationship Longevity." So, which I think is amazing, and I loved the article. And and I do think that commitment to a marriage has its own challenges, and you expanded on what that term means. But how does it actually, or how should it show up? Commitment. How should it show up in a marriage? What makes this a different kind of thing, and what does it actually mean?
Oh, okay. So a commitment in a marriage means that the 2 people you're not just going to establish a long-term relationship, but you're looking to build something substantial, a family, a home, maybe even a community, of people, saying that, that are of similar belief and similar commitment. That's what you're looking. I mean, that's what it meant in the past. That's what it meant in the past. In the 50s and the 60s, that's what it was. People would get married, the neighbors would be there, and then after that, they would have dinners and and luncheons, and they would invite the neighbors, and they would all come over, and they would have similar beliefs, as their neighbors did, like that. That's what it meant in the past. Now that things have changed, it's a new era, that doesn't apply so much, but in many cases it does still apply. So you're looking to establish not only a tight bond with the person that you're being intimate with, but also you're looking to build a family structure so that you can raise your children, with a certain moral compass, and you're looking to bond with people who are like you, you know what I'm saying, you're married, you're in a committed relationship, you're looking to raise your children in a certain way, like that. You know, and, you know, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's a beautiful thing, actually.
Well, wait, so what I'm hearing you tell me is that marriage isn't just about personal happiness?
No. No.
Okay, because this is, you know, I mean, and I think that actually kind of can distract people. And yes, I personally don't use the word miserable in the same sentence as marriage. I don't think that marriage should be a situation where you're miserable, but I do think that people can underestimate how much bigger the concept of marriage is than what most people think about. And I think you've described it very well in terms that you're actually creating something more than just a romantic relationship with somebody. And I think that really is what makes marriage so different, that it can, done well, it can serve as the glue for a lot of things. And you've mentioned, you know, obviously the relationship with your partner, but if you decide to have a family and the greater community, you know, your immediate community and then the greater community at large, I really think that taking a look at it from that bigger concept might actually help people look at it differently or prepare for it differently or commit to it differently. Am I even on the right track?
Yes, you're on the right track. The key is, now a lot of times people romanticize about marriage, and that's where they go wrong. They start to believe that every day that they're married is going to be like the wedding day. And that's you know, that's not reality. You know, it's not going to be that way. You know, but many people, you know, we look at these movies and we listen to these love songs and we start to think that marriage is like that. It's not like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? However, if you put the work in and you spend the time with your significant other, you will be happy. Now, what that means is, I'm not saying that you're going to be giddy every day. What I'm saying is that because you put the work in, and you've committed to this person, and this person is committed to you, and you trust each other, you know, no matter what happens, that you can rely on this person, that this person is going to be there for you during the hard times and the easy times, that this person can be confided in, that they can be trusted with your secrets. That allows you a certain comfort even when things aren't going well. You understand what I'm saying? It allows you to be comfortable even when things aren't going well because you have this person that you count on and you know that you can. So it brings a certain, you may not be happy, but you will have a certain confidence and a certain calmness during that period because of the other person.
And I love, it does, and I love that. And you mentioned a very specific word that I want to go after because you talk about trust, and that's the other thing. Commitment and trust equals relationship longevity in your title. So what actually does it mean to trust? And what makes that essential for creating a healthy marriage that can last through those challenging times?
Okay, so this is a twofold thing, but I'm gonna make it quick. So I had a discussion with some people about this, and I was talking to another relationship coach, and he said that his coach wrote a book. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but it was for men. Why men are not comfortable being vulnerable with their significant other. And in the book, she interviewed a bunch of men and asked them this question. And they said the reason that they're not comfortable is because they don't want to be belittled by the woman that they're with, or they don't want sensitive information to be used against them later in an argument or anything like that.
Right.
So in that situation, you can't really develop a trust because the man is not sharing, And if the man is not sharing, then the woman is going to get frustrated because she's not getting the intimacy that she wants from the man, because you have to be vulnerable in order to establish intimacy.
Correct.
So there's going to be a lack of trust there because you're not being open with one another mutually. You see what I'm saying? So that when you can share with a person openly and not worry about the things being used against you or you being belittled, you know what I'm saying? It brings about a certain level of trust to where you say to yourself, okay, I can trust this person with anything.
Right.
Because they've taken the information that you've given them and they kept it and they protected it and they valued it. So that's what I was alluding to, in the article. So I don't know if I use those specific words, but that's what I was alluding to.
Well, and you say this, and it is so critically important that when somebody shares their harder thoughts and feelings, the things that they struggle with, the things, what you were talking about, being vulnerable, and I share that with you, it needs to be treated like the very precious gift that it is. And I love what you're saying about, it cannot be used against us, because if I share something with you and it comes flying back at me in a harsh, punishing way, what you've actually told me is I can't share with you. Because it's not safe. And, there's a part of me that says, why, if you loved somebody, would you do that to them? Because to me, that's just so like, no, don't do that. But I guess that is when we, the idea that we want to hurt our partners, which again, now I've been with my husband for almost 40 years. I have annoyed the crap out of him at times. He's annoyed me at times. But we have always protected each other. He's never used stuff against me. I've never used stuff against him, and I think that's really why we've lasted so long.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's a big part of it. But when you look at the other side of it, when you look at people who don't do that, it is because of lack of healing. And like I said, a lack of concern for the other person's feelings and emotions. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love the other person.
Okay.
They could love the other person. However, because they haven't healed from whatever has happened in their past, whether it's relationship trauma or whatever, or they are used to doing this in other relationships, so this has become a pattern for them. They do it in the current in the marriage that they're in. But the point is that they have to do the work in order to get out of that, because once you do that, whether it's a man or a woman, you do that to your significant other, then you're going to get less from them. It might not cause a divorce, it might not cause a split, but it will damage the relationship, because now the person views certain things that they keep within themselves. You're not worthy of it anymore because you can't be trusted with it. You see? So it does damage the trust in a way. So, you need to be cognizant of that it's going to damage the trust, if you do that.
Right. So this is Happily Ever After is just the beginning on webtalkradio.net. I'm Leslie Dories, and I'm talking commitment and trust with relationship coach, author, and podcast host Lewis Morris. And if you struggle with truly trusting your spouse or fully committing to your relationship, you're not alone. But these are essential elements if you're going to create a marriage that not just survives, but actually thrives. And if you're ready to tackle either of these areas, I can help. So I'm inviting you to please take a moment and give me a call or send me an email to schedule your free 5-star relationship call. You can reach me by email at Leslie, Leslie, at foundationscoachingnc.com. That's FOUNDATIONS coaching